Good morning all. Thanks very much for joining today. It's great to see the take-up and eagerness amongst you all to learn about new technology in the marketplace. So we hope to do more of these webinars going forward as everything does become more digital as due to this pandemic. And we want to keep you in loop with the latest developments here at Stonegate. So firstly, before we get going, I'd like to introduce you to all the team here. Here we have Richard Faulkner.
Hello.
He's the head Flexijet technician here, and he'll be running you through today a demonstration of the machine. And this is Duncan Colley.
Morning.
Morning. He heads up the technical side with Richard. They're both on hand with any technical queries that you have with this machine as it comes into the market. And for those who have not seen me before, I'm Jeremiah Clark. So today we're revealing the future of laser templating. This machine is a new product to the UK market, but has been sold in the US and Germany for many years now in this specific industry and also in other industries such as staircase measuring. Over the next 30 minutes we'll run through the key benefits of this machine and how it differs to what is available on the market at the moment. We would encourage you throughout this webinar to ask questions in the Q&A box. At the bottom of your screen there's a little button that says Q&A. Click this and simply type your question and click submit. We'll be monitoring these throughout the demo and we will ensure we get your answers at the end of it. I'd now like to pass you over to Richard, who will run you through the demonstration. Over to you, Richard.
Thank you very much. Good morning everybody, thank you very much for joining. Just going to take you through some key features of the Flexijet now here. So what I'll do is I'll just switch to another camera that we've got and I'll be able to show you a bit closer. So this is the Flexijet itself. The Flexijet is made by a company called Nido in Germany. Now Nido have been doing surveying equipment since 1901, so they have unrivaled experience in this field. As such, there's a few bespoke items that are unique to the Flexijet that come with this kit. So we'll start off with the tripod. The tripod's a carbon fibre tripod, very, very lightweight. It's really easy to transfer between different jobs when you're sticking it in the back of your bag and everything. The tripod's also incredibly robust and very, very sturdy. The unit itself is also a very strong bit of kit. It's nice and solid. It comes with 360-degree rotation, and it also has the ability to point straight down at the floor and straight upwards as well. Now, what this gives us the ability to do is if we're working in any kind of confined space, let's say we want to do a waterfall edge or anything like that, we can quite easily take a measurement from the bottom of our cabinets to get the information from that. So another item unique to the Flexijet is the laser here on the front. So this particular laser is built specifically for this machine. The reason that this is different, this laser takes 500 measurements per shot as opposed to the industry standard lasers that take, let's say, 50 measurements per shot. Now this gives us a much better reading, a much more accurate reading, as it's repeating a lot more times. The laser is also a lot more intense than all the other lasers. What this does is if there's any sort of deflection, or if we're working in close quarters and the laser's splayed, we'll still get a good accurate reading off that. So I'll just do a quick tour of the screen here. So another feature that's unique is it has tilt monitoring. Now what tilt monitoring does is there's some sensors inside the machine and it can tell if it's on an even surface or not. You can see that moving there. The unit will also tell you if somebody comes and they kick the unit for any particular reason or knock it whilst you're in the middle of your template, it comes up with a warning and it says that the unit has been knocked or moved and it stops you from continuing your template and getting inaccurate information. So all we need to do to start, tripod's set up. Alright, sorry about that, I missed the camera out on the front. There's a camera also on the front. For every measurement that we take, the Flexijet also automatically takes a photograph. It automatically puts it in the software as well. So this is really, really good for putting all the information in a single file. So that if anything changes while we're taking photographs on site, or if anything changes afterwards, the information can be relayed to the fabrication team. So, sorry about that, back to the screen again. We've set the tripod up. To start it, we've got auto leveling. So, just auto level, okay. Then in a few seconds, the device will know where level is. And that's it, we're ready to start templating. Just pop back onto the other camera now. There we go. Okay. Right, so we should be able to see the software side of the machine now. In here we have a few tabs. These are laid out in a Windows style. We can do as much or as little CAD work as we want here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out and we're going to do a basic kitchen. To start, all we need to do is click countertop. We can name it whatever we want and then click OK. So in the command plane at the bottom now, the Flexijet is going to ask us to take a single point on the work plane. Now we only need a single point because the Flexijet already knows where it is in the room due to its sensors. This benefits us when we're doing smaller objects such as windowsills or anything like that. You don't have to take 3 points. You only have to take a single point so you can work in a much smaller area and the Flexijet will work out the work plane from that. So now that our work plane's set, what we're going to do is from the screen of the Flexijet, we're just going to select multiple lines. Flexijet will then ask us to take the first point of our first measurement. There we go, that's the first point taken. It now asks us to take the second point, and so on and so forth. So as we're doing this, the Flexijet is automatically going to join the lines together for us, and we don't have to keep reselecting the multiple line feature. It will just keep reselecting that for us. Now when we get to the end here, we have got some targets set up on the end of our cabinets. Now these targets are aluminium. They're a very solid, robust target. There's not any flex in them at all. So this also gives us an accurate reading. Just continue along here. And scanning the walls. You'll see it drawing it on the screen as we go. Now another feature, we don't have to go and fillet each corner individually. We can just select straight from the Flexijet screen, connect all the lines, and it connects it. So what I'll do now is I'll be able to show you a few of the features that we spoke about earlier. So if we go to our View tab here, we can show measurement points, show photo points, and the location. So for each measurement that we took, we spoke earlier about the camera. Now what that does is it puts these purple dots on here. So we can hover over a purple dot and you have a photograph for every point that we've taken. Again, this is really good for our records because it means we have on file a photograph of each measurement point that we've taken, so we can see if there's any accurate or inaccurate measurements, or if anything's moved for any reason. What we can also do is, while we're on site taking the measurements, if we have any uneven walls or we're unsure of where we've taken the measurement from, we can just go to the Flexijet tab and we can use what's called Show CAD Point. Now, because the unit's motorised, we now have the ability to ask the Flexijet, can you show me where this point was? So if I click this, you can see in the background there, the Flexijet moving. Now I'll just do that another time. You can see it moving, and what it's doing is it's pointing to the measurement point that we've just taken. What we can also do is we can create an offset, and then we can ask the Flexijet to point and show us where that offset will go to on the wall, so we can see if it comes into contact with any obstacles or anything like that, and we can check that everything looks good. So whilst we're on the subject of it being motorised, we'll show you another unique feature of the Flexijet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this line, and I'm going to start what's called series of measurements. So these measurements are great for keeping a set distance, whichever increment you set, away from each measurement. It'll also keep the same height away from the worktop or the work surface that you're measuring, so that you're not venturing up the wall where it may be more uneven. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Again, it's going to tell us in the command plane how to do this. So we're going to take a first point where we want the Flexijet to start measuring. We're then going to tell the Flexijet which direction we want to go in, and then we'll tell it where we would like these measurements to end. When we click OK, the Flexijet will start measuring the wall for us. So we can see now the Flexijet's moving into position on its own, and it'll now keep a set increment from each measurement that we've defined for it. Now this is really, really useful if you have old stone walls or anything with a really extreme scribe where you want it to go in and out. You can set the increments as fine or as far apart as you want. Okay. So because the unit's motorised, we can also connect a number of devices to it. This also helps us with our accuracy. So we have here a controller. This controller comes with the machine. What it allows us to do is it allows us to move the machine without having to go near the Flexijet. This is brilliant if the floor's a little bit unsturdy or you're on a big soft fluffy carpet, for example. You don't have to be moving around the Flexijet. There's a risk of knocking it or there's a risk of it moving. You can also, if you want to lean over a cabinet for any reason, or you want to get right into the corner and get any kind of detailed work, it's absolutely fantastic. You don't need to keep going back and forward to the machine to move the machine to get those finer details. A lot of the buttons on this controller are customizable. So what we can do is we can define whatever tool that we want to one of these buttons, and we can take measurements as we walk along the countertops, not next to the machine. Another device that we're able to connect is our smartphone. So what this also allows us to do is take photographs with the device. So if I move the Flexijet into position, let's say we want to go to the corner of those cabinets there, and then we want to take a photograph. Now this is a more detailed photograph, but again, it's stored in the software, in the job file. You can see that it's now cross-referenced the position of the laser with the photograph that I've taken and placed it in the package. There you go. So We've also got a number of CAD features here. You can do as much or as little CAD work as you actually want. So for example, if you want to offset the front lines, we can just type in 40 millimeters and we can offset those lines if we so wish. We have connect tools, so if we modify anything, we can connect everything back up. We'll connect these lines that we've redrawn as well. And then we're also able to change the colours. So, as well as the colours, we can define different layers that can then be seen by our machines back at the shop. Say for example you want a red line on here. These are just predefined colours. We can do any colour that you want, and we can also create any layer that you want. As well as being able to do this, we also have a number of drop-ins available to us. Just go to our drop-in folder and we can create a library of sinks, hobs, anything that we wish. There we go. We can also snap this to a point. Let's say we want to draw a centre line in here, in the centre of our cabinets. If we want to, we can snap the sink to that point. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do another layer, and I can show you a bit more in detail the 3D functionality of the machine. So we'll click on our backsplash folder. We can create backsplashes, waterfalls, whatever we want. Flexijet will then ask us, click on the left and the right hand side, and it creates a new waterfall folder for us there. What we're then able to do is exactly the same as we did for the countertops. We can just select multiple lines. We can go down the wall. Take in the skirting board detail if we want. Just going to go across the floor. And we're going to come up the side of the cabinets here. And then across the top. Again, we can just join these together from our Flexijet. There's no need to keep going backwards and forwards. There we go. So it's as easy as that. So you'll see now we've got our two separate components here. We've got the waterfall edge that we want to make. Again, we can put any offsets that we want on here. If the worktop's 30mm, we can offset that. And then we've got our countertop folder. So these two folders are separate. We can make separate pieces, but if we so wish, we also have a 3D visual representation of the full kitchen here as well. So because of the point that we took earlier to set our single point for the work plane, it now gives us the option to use what's called distance point to plane. Now what this does is this tells us if the cabinets that we're measuring are level or not, and it can put the dimensions straight on the drawing for us. So let's just select now distance point to plane, and I'll demonstrate that for you. Now our cabinets are not level here, so we can show you this. And what you'll see is on the drawing as I'm scanning, it's telling you how far out of level these cabinets are from the original plane that I've taken. It's really good if we need to make any adjustments to the cabinets, or if we need to use any packers or anything like that. This feature can also be used on walls to see if the wall's even, if you want to do any kind of cladding or any kind of work like that. So because the machine's also Wi-Fi enabled, we also have here this question mark. So what this is for is this is for full support. Support can be given anywhere in the world. Because the machine's Wi-Fi enabled, we can connect it, we can log in, we can control the machine. We can also test to see if the machine needs any kind of calibration before there's any need to send it away or anything like that. All these files that we're creating here, we can check them for open ends, create polylines, and we can send them directly to machinery. We can also create full shop sheets, put all the dimensions on, for example. We can do all that straight from the Flexijet if we want to. All right. I think that concludes the demonstration.
Thanks very much, Richard.
That's all right.
That was a great overview of the machine, and we've had some very good questions coming in as well, so we'll cover a few of these off as we're going through now. One of the questions was in relation to an additional laptop, which this is run off a laptop and a connected Flexijet. So you could just expand on that.
Yeah, not a problem. So again, because the Flexijet is Wi-Fi enabled, you can connect a number of devices to it. You can use a laptop if you want to use a laptop, or you can connect a tablet to it as well.
Yeah, they recommend a Surface Pro, don't they?
Yeah.
Which is a brilliant laptop, tablet style machine. We also had a question come in relation to scribing walls, which I believe Richard would have covered off, or did cover off, in scanning the horizontal plane along the back automatically. You can do this manually as well, if you wanted to just do a small section of it. But the nice thing about it being automatic is it keeps it the same height above the cabinets, so it's a consistent level right across. And we do get a lot of questions coming in relation to price. Now, after seeing this demo, you're probably thinking, well, it's probably 3 times more expensive than any other machine out there, but we're delighted to say it isn't, and we'll be definitely in touch with further details. If you want to get in touch with a sales guy this end, we'll make sure we tailor a proposal to you, including training and all the other items that come with the machine, so that it's tailored to your needs. We've also had a question coming in relation to our training and support, and that's something that Stonegate believes passionately about. So much so that we've been training and using this machine now for over half a year, because we wanted to ensure we have full trained technicians in-house here who know the machine inside out, so that we can help implement it in your factory. We've chosen to partner with Flexijet because they're a company that share very similar values to us, in the sense that they're passionate about a good machine, a reliable product with very good support. They have 3 to 5 technicians over there in Germany. There's also technicians in the US too, and obviously we've got 2 here, and we'll aim to do on-site training. And obviously, as we've discussed, it's a Wi-Fi enabled machine, so if needs be on site and you get stuck, we can actually remote in and even operate the machine remotely.
Yeah.
That's correct, is it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. We can support you from anywhere in the world.
Yes, absolutely. We've also had a question come in relation to calibration. Now, the fantastic thing about this machine is it can be calibrated remotely.
Yeah.
It mainly needs to be done only remotely. And explain why that's possible.
So one of the tests that can be done is we set a target on the wall. We've got it on the other camera. Tell you what, let's just move that up a second.
Yeah.
Let's put this other camera on so you can see better. So what happens is we put a target on the wall, we shoot the target, we then spin the device 360 degrees and go back over the top and shoot the same target again. Now, what this allows us to do is this allows us to check if the Flexijet is still in line or not. If the Flexijet isn't in line, then we know it needs calibrating, and we can calibrate it. As we were saying before, the Flexijet is a very robust device, so the chance that it'll need calibrating is very, very slim. It also locks itself into position during transport. There's a pin that comes across, so when it's in its case, it's nice and solid. All right. The camera.
Yeah, that's a brilliant explanation of it. And on top of that, there has been some questions coming in relation to software packages, service packages, general support, and there is an optional service package that is available that we recommend is taken up, and that involves more in-depth servicing of the machine, also software updates throughout the year. And the good thing to point out on this is Flexijet are passionate about releasing real, true feature updates to the machine. And to this end, they've done over 400 feature updates on this machine now, customer-led improvements that have helped tweak the machine to suit the specific industry it's being used in. Again, we can fill you out with further details exactly what those packages are and what's available. And we've also had a question come in relation to if the machine is knocked, do I have to remeasure the whole kitchen again? So, Rich, you probably explain a bit better.
Okay, so when we set the machine up, what we can do if we're moving measure up, sorry, my apologies, if we're measuring different points or we have to move the Flexijet around the kitchen, we have target cards. So if we put out 2 of these target cards before we start, what we can do is we can scan these in. It only takes a few minutes, and then we can move the Flexijet wherever we want in the room. What this also means is if the Flexijet is knocked for any reason, we can just rescan these 2 points and the Flexijet knows exactly where it is in the room. It doesn't need 3 points, it just needs these 2 cards, and that's it, you can start again. You don't have to start from the beginning of your drawing, you can continue on from where you left off. So if you're doing a big room or you're doing multiple rooms, you don't have to start again. You can just start from where the machine got knocked, basically.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's answered it well. And no doubt there's many, many more questions that you've got and would like answering, so we don't want to cut you short, but keep the questions coming. If you want to make further inquiries, get in touch with your rep, who will definitely pass you on to this team and we'll make sure you're looked after. So as I say, thanks very much for your attendance today. It's been great to see the take up, and we look forward to dealing with you in the future and helping you on this journey to the future of laser templating. Thanks all, have a great Tuesday.